Chapter 1985. Little B** starred, "How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? Do you want to die?" Murong Xuang said coldly, her gaze terrifying. Murong Xuang was already disgusted by Daodu's existence, and now she was even more disgusted by Daodu. She was clearly the daughter of a wealthy family, but now she felt like a crazy woman. She did not have any demeanor at all. She was probably blinded by hatred and did not care about her image at all. Daodu lifted his little face and looked at Murong Xuang, his little face full of anger. "I won't allow anyone to bully my mother." Even when faced with the fierce Murong Xuang, Daodu still said firmly. Murong Xuang's gaze became even sharper. At the same time, Murong Xuang's two bodyguards had already made their move on Zhao Yun. Zhao Yun had never practiced martial arts, so how could she be a match for these people? Not long after, she was captured by the two bodyguards. Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao heard the commotion outside the house, and as soon as they came out, they saw the two men holding Zhao Yun. They were so frightened that their faces turned ashen, and they shouted at the two bodyguards, "What are you doing? Why are you holding my daughter? Let her go, let her go." The two bodyguards ignored Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao. Liang Jinxiao was extremely anxious, and he quickly patted Zhao Wenhua. "Yun's father, hurry up and save Yun." Zhao Wenhua replied. However, just as he rushed over, before he could even get close to Zhao Yun, the bodyguard raised his leg and kicked down. Zhao Wenhua flew out and landed heavily on the ground. Ouch! Zhao Wenhua groaned in pain, feeling as if his bones had been broken. He was no match for these people, and it seemed impossible for him to save Zhao Yun. However, these people had strangely captured Zhao Yun. As her parents, they were naturally very worried, afraid that these people wanted to do something bad and hurt Zhao Yun. Liang Jinxiao quickly rushed to Zhao Wenhua and helped Zhao Wenhua up from the ground. "Yun's father, how are you? Where are you hurt?" Zhao Wenhua got up from the ground in pain and waved his hand. "Yun's mother, don't worry. It's just a little bit, I don't think I'm hurt." Liang Jinxiao's eyes were still filled with worry. "Yun's father, please don't be his father." These people obviously did not come with good intentions. First they captured Zhao Yun and now they injured Zhao Wenhua. They did not know what their motive was. Zhao Wenhua held his aching waist and warned the two guards who were holding Zhao Yun, "Hurry up and let go of my daughter. Otherwise don't blame me for being impolite." Zhao Yun knew that Zhao Wenhua was no match for these people. She was afraid that Zhao Wenhua would get hurt again if he rushed over, so Zhao Yun said, "Father, don't come over. You're not their match." "But Yun, what are these people trying to do?" Zhao Wenhua's face was full of worry, and Liang Jinxiao was also very anxious. Zhao Yun comforted them. "Father, mother, don't worry about me. I'll be fine." Even though Zhao Yun was comforting them, Liang Jinxiao and Zhao Wenhua's faces were full of worry. Daodu was even more anxious. He was afraid that Zhao Yun would be hurt in the slightest. He struggled in Murong Xuang's hands. "Bad person, let go of me. Little bastard, what's the use of letting go of you? Do you think you can save your mother?" Chapter 1986. Murong Xuang groaned in pain. How dare this little B** bite her? She must be tired of living. Because of the pain, Murong Xuang had no choice but to let go of Daodu's hand. She looked down and saw that there were clear teeth marks where Daodu had bitten her. One look and she knew that he had bitten her hard. "Little B***, you're really ruthless. You're just like your mother." Murong Xuang's eyes were spitting fire. How could she let Daodu off so easily? When she saw Daodu running towards the two guards, she quickly chased after him and raised her hand to slap him. Zhao Yun was shocked. If this slap landed on Daodu's face, how could such a young child withstand it? He would probably vomit blood. Zhao Yun struggled to stop Murong Xuang. However, she was held tightly by the two guards and could not move at all. Even if she wanted to stop Murong Xuang, her strength fell short of her will. Zhao Yun's eyes immediately reddened. She swore in her heart that if this woman really hurt Daodu, she would not let her off so easily. She could have chosen to live peacefully with Murong Xuang. If she did not provoke her, she would not have teased her. However, this woman just loved to challenge her bottom line and do things that she did not want to see. Just as Murong Xuang's hand was about to land, a stone flew over and hit Murong Xuang's hand. Murong Xuang felt a burst of pain and withdrew her hand. Murong Xuang frowned and looked behind her. She saw Mu Lianfeng strolling towards her with a gloomy face. He looked as if he wanted to eat someone alive. When she saw Mu Lianfeng, Murong Xuang immediately put away the fierceness on her face and became much gentler. She smiled and said to Mu Lianfeng, "Cousin? You're here?" Mu Lianfeng snorted coldly and looked at Murong Xuang with a cold gaze. Are you here to bully my woman and my child? Who gave you the right? Murong Xuang, I don't care how tyrannical you are at home, but I hope you know your place and don't run outside and behave atrociously. With Mu Lianfeng's protection, Dao Du rushed towards Mu Lianfeng and threw himself into Mu Lianfeng's arms. Just now he was also quite frightened. After all, he was still a child. How could he withstand so much shock and torment? Mu Lianfeng picked up Dao Du and comforted him. It's okay, Dao Du. Don't be afraid. Daddy is here. Daddy will protect you. Dao Du nodded heavily in response. Yeah. Murong Xuang anxiously defended herself when she saw Mu Lianfeng's cold expression. Cousin. How can you treat me like this for this mother and son? I'm your cousin. Who do they think they are? The more Murong Xuang thought about it, the more aggrieved she felt. She had rushed to Sun City from the capital city with great difficulty just to see her cousin. However, Mu Lianfeng had come to Shuilan village and said that he was busy with court matters. How could Murong Xuang not know that this was clearly Mu Lianfeng's excuse to avoid meeting her? She wanted to marry him, but because of Zhao Yun'er and Dao Du, it had become increasingly difficult. Before Zhao Yun'er and Dao Du were together, Mu Lianfeng had treated her well. Although there were no romantic feelings between them, he doted on her like a little sister and would never scold her or be fierce to her like he was now. Chapter 1987. Mu Lianfeng mocked coldly, They are my family, they are my love. You, on the other hand, are only my cousin. Please be clear about this. Don't make us brothers and sisters turn against each other. Mu Lianfeng's meaning was clear. In his eyes, Zhao Yun'er and Dao Du were the most important, while she as his cousin had no place at all. Murong Xuang's heart was a little crazy, and she pushed all the blame onto Zhao Yun'er and Dao Du. Her hatred for the two of them grew. If it weren't for them, perhaps she and Mu Lianfeng would still have a chance. Cousin. Murong Xuang pouted, feeling wronged. Her eyes were filled with tears, looking delicate and pitiful. In the past, Mu Lianfeng's heart would probably soften, and he wouldn't be so cold and reproachful. But now Mu Lianfeng didn't even look at Murong Xuang. Instead, he walked towards Zhao Yun. Seeing the two guards grab Zhao Yun'er's arms, the coldness in Mu Lianfeng's eyes intensified. He shouted at the two guards, Let her go. The two guards were a little intimidated by the aura that exploded from Mu Lianfeng's body. They turned to look at Murong Xuang, waiting for her to give the order. They didn't dare to make a decision on their own, so they just let Zhao Yun'er go. Murong Xuang gritted her teeth. Her eyes were filled with unwillingness, as if her beloved had been snatched away by someone else. Looking at Zhao Yun'er, her eyes were filled with the desire to cut Zhao Yun'er into 1,000 pieces. Seeing this, the two guards could only continue the stalemate and didn't let go. Mu Lianfeng saw that the two guards weren't tactful, so he didn't say anything else. Instead, he reached out and clapped his hands, easily snatching Zhao Yun'er from their hands. Just as the two guards were about to step forward, they heard Mu Lianfeng's cold warning, You are no match for me. Don't ask for a snub. The two guards were stunned and turned to look at Murong Xuang. Murong Xuang glared at the two guards. Two useless things. Father, it's this bad woman who bullied Mother. Father, quickly help Mother teach them a lesson, they are too bad. Dao Du complained while pretending to be Mu Lianfeng. Although he spoke in a childish voice, it was obvious that Dao Du was furious. Cousin. Murong Xuang continued to pretend to be pitiful. Cousin. I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't hurt this B*TC. She was the one who stopped me from entering the house to look for you. I thought you were hiding in her house and didn't want to see me on purpose. That's right, cousin, look, my face was slapped by this bitch. Murong Xuang deliberately stretched out her face. At this moment, there was still a palm print on his face. However, Mu Lianfeng didn't feel the slightest bit of heartache or protection. Instead, he said sarcastically, Disasters can be forgiven, but disasters brought on by oneself are the hardest to bear. You asked for it. Chapter 1988. Cousin. Sob. Do you care about her that much? You don't even care about the feelings between us for so many years. Are she and this child? Are they that important to you? Zhao Yun'er knew that she was asking the obvious, but she still asked anyway. Mu Lianfeng affirmed, Yes, so cousin, please be careful in the future. Don't do anything to hurt them. Murong Xuang was on the verge of going crazy. She had come all the way here to declare her sovereignty in front of Zhao Yun'er. Now that she had Mu Lianfeng's protection and support, she was afraid that Zhao Yun'er would be even more insatiable and completely disregard her. Cousin, can you go back now? Mu Lianfeng looked like he was driving her away. He was afraid that if Xuanhuan continued to stay, she would do something to hurt Zhao Yun. Xuanhuan had come here to look for Mu Lianfeng. She had planned to get along with Mu Lianfeng and discuss their marriage. Now that she had been driven away, how could she say anything? Cousin. I came all the way from the capital to look for you. We haven't even had a reunion yet. Xuanhuan said, feeling wronged. What do we have to talk about? Cousin, what do you want to talk to me about? Seeing Mu Lianfeng's heartless look, Xuanhuan bit her lower lip and replied pitifully, Cousin, are you really going to treat me like this because of an outsider? Mu Lianfeng's face was expressionless. Instead, he replied with a hint of disgust, Since you have nothing else to say, hurry up and leave. This is Yun'er's courtyard. Outsiders are not allowed to enter. No, I'm not leaving. Xuanhuan replied capriciously. Since she was young, she had been doted on by her parents. She had been the apple of their eye. She usually had everything she wanted. Everyone obeyed her. Unfortunately, when it came to Mu Lianfeng, she was repeatedly thwarted. Mu Lianfeng had never accepted her love, and now he was treating her like this. Cousin, don't be so willful. This is not your home. No one has the obligation to follow your wishes, not even me. Xuanhuan's tears flowed down her cheeks and dripped down. Cousin, I just want to look at you more. Do you know that I rushed over here these few days because of you? I didn't eat or drink well and I've become thinner. Don't you feel sorry for me? Can you really turn a blind eye to me? Xuanhuan could not control her emotions and started to cry in front of Mu Lianfeng. Mu Lianfeng's eyes moved slightly, but they were soon replaced by a sharp look. He replied indifferently, Cousin, I'm sorry. I can't reciprocate your love. Now, I can tell you that you don't have to think about me anymore. I will never marry you in this life. I only have one woman and one wife, and that is Yun'er. If you know what's good for you, I can still take into account the friendship between us. In the future, we can still get along like before. Chapter 1989. As Xuanhuan spoke, she turned around and left in a huff. The two guards who were accompanying him also followed him. She had only said that in a fit of pique and wanted to test Mu Lianfeng's reaction. She originally thought that Mu Lianfeng would urge her to stay, but when she got into the carriage and left Zhao Yun'er's courtyard, Mu Lianfeng remained unmoved and let her leave. Xuanhuan, who was in the carriage, could not control her tears as they streamed down her cheeks. After crying for a while, Xuanhuan's eyes revealed a hint of viciousness. She was not willing to let Mu Lianfeng be snatched away by a country bumpkin just like that. What could she do to win back Mu Lianfeng's heart? Xuanhuan's heart was brewing. She might as well find a man and rape Zhao Yun. As long as Zhao Yun'er's body was ruined, she did not believe that her cousin would be so generous and not mind his woman being raped. With that thought, Xuanhuan fiercely gritted her teeth and prepared to carry out this plan. After Xuanhuan left, Zhao Yun'er's courtyard finally quieted down. Both xuanhuan and xianxia were shocked. Fortunately, Mu Lianfeng had rushed back in time. Otherwise they did not know what would have happened. If something had happened to Zhao Yun and Daodu, their third branch would not be able to bear it. Xuanhuan frowned and asked Zhao Yun, who was that person just now? Why did she treat you like that the moment she arrived? Did you offend her? Liang Jinxiao also patted his chest and said, Yes, one look and you can tell that her background is not simple. You can't offend this kind of person. Yun, she won't come to our house to cause trouble for you next time, right? Zhao Yun, naturally didn't know if Xuanhuan would come again, but she knew that this woman wouldn't give up so easily. She liked Mu Lianfeng and was so possessive. How could she let her off so easily? It was even more impossible for him to hand over Mu Lianfeng so easily. Zhao Yun guessed that this woman must be thinking of other ways to deal with her, but she didn't know what methods she would use and how to deal with her. During this period of time, she had to be careful in order to avoid any mishaps. Mu Lianfeng apologetically explained to Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao, Uncle Andy, that was my cousin. She's used to being willful at home. She's like this even when she's here. I'm sorry for scaring you. So she's the crown prince's cousin. Needless to say, they knew that Xuanhuan's background was not simple. No wonder she was so arrogant. After listening to the conversation between Mu Lianfeng and Xuanhuan, Zhao Wenhua and Liang Jinxiao were faintly worried. Since she was Xuanhuan's cousin and had feelings for Mu Lianfeng, then what about their Yun'er? After all, marriage in ancient times was decided by parents and matchmakers. What if the family made arrangements for the two of them and let Mu Lianfeng marry Xuanhuan? Even if Zhao Yun'er could marry the crown prince, she would still have to lower herself in the crown prince's residence. Zhao Yun'er's position in the residence would definitely not be comparable to Xuanhuan's. When the time came, she would inevitably be wronged. Unfortunately, it was useless for them to worry. They were just ordinary country folk. How could they change anything? In front of these adults, they were not even worth mentioning. Father, that bad woman is too bad. Daodu complained to Mu Lianfeng in dissatisfaction and pouted. Chapter 1990. Sob, 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 father, you didn't even teach that bad woman a lesson and avenge Daodu and mother. Daodu could not help but complain. Daodu felt that letting Murong Xuan go so easily was too easy for her. From Daodu's point of view, if someone bullied him, he had to fight back. How could he just let someone go so easily? Mu Lianfeng did not know whether to laugh or cry. He did not know how to coax Daodu. He did not hit Murong Xuan because he still remembered their sibling relationship. However, the words he said were probably enough to hurt Murong Xuan. Hurting someone did not necessarily have to hurt them physically. Stabbing them in the heart would probably hurt even more. What he said just now must have hurt Murong Xuan immensely. He did not need to do anything else, and he had already caused enough damage. Zhao Yuner understood this, so she smiled at Daodu and said, Daodu, a gentleman uses his mouth and not his fists. Sometimes you have to use your fists, understand? Your father has already helped us out. Thinking about how Mu Lianfeng had defended her and firmly expressed his stance, Zhao Yuner knew how important she and her son were to Mu Lianfeng. Actually, Mu Lianfeng's words were enough. As for Murong Xuan, Mu Lianfeng did not need to be merciless. Mother, is that so? Daodu furrowed his delicate brows. Of course. Zhao Yuner touched Daodu's smooth face. Daodu nodded. Mother, when Daodu grows up, he will protect you. Even if father is not around, Daodu has the ability to protect mother. Just like today, he was still too weak. He wanted to protect Zhao Yuner, but he did not have the ability to do so. He could only watch anxiously from the side without any room to fight back. Zhao Yuner patted Daodu's face and chuckled, All right, when Daodu grows up, I will let Daodu protect mother. Yes, yes. Daodu nodded heavily. Right, mother, did those bad uncles hurt you just now? Daodu's concerned little eyes fell on Zhao Yuner again. Zhao Yuner shook her head. It doesn't hurt. Mother is fine. I was not hurt. Seeing Zhao Yuner say that, Daodu was relieved. Yes, yes. After the commotion just now, the family of three finally returned to the house. Then she entered the house, but Zhao Yuner still couldn't let it go. She faintly felt that something was going to happen. Unfortunately, there was no point in worrying now. He could only take one step at a time and hope that nothing major would happen. Over the past few days, nothing had happened to him. His days were very peaceful. However, old Zhao's house was noisy from time to time. Ever since Zhao Wenshui humiliated Feng Xianxia, the first branch received the money and wanted to build a new house. When they moved out of old Zhao's house, they would not have to see Zhao Wenshui every day. Zhao Wenshui basically treated Zhao Wenshui coldly every time he saw him. Sometimes he could not stand it and directly went up to him to give him a few punches. Zhao Wenshui could not beat Zhao Wenshui, so he could only take a beating every day. After being beaten a few times, Zhao Wenshui simply did not go out. As long as he did not go out, he would not run into Zhao Wenshui and would not be beaten. Sometimes, when he needed to go to the latrine and had to come out, he would observe carefully before sneaking out and rushing to the latrine. After he was done, he would rush back in, afraid that he would bump into Zhao Wenshui. Chapter 1991. Although he had solved the problem of food, he had not solved the problem of other things. There were no women in the family, so no one washed his clothes for him. As a man, how could he do something that only women could do? No one washed his clothes, so he took them off and threw them aside. However, they were from the countryside and did not have many clothes. After changing out of them a few times, they had no more clothes to change into. It was summer, so every night when he went to bed he would sweat all over. After not changing his clothes for a few days, his body would start to rot, and the smell was very strange and unpleasant. Unfortunately, Zhao Wenshui still had no intention of washing his clothes himself. Instead, he started to have other thoughts. As a man, he could not do without a wife. Not to mention that there was no one to serve him every day, even if he wanted to do it every night, there was no woman by his side. After holding it in for a few days, Zhao Wenshui really could not bear it anymore. He thought of the past. Although Li Chuang was not very good looking, she was still a woman and he could make do with it. Now that he had no way to do it, he could only rely on his own hands to relieve his hunger and thirst. However, it was not as comfortable as a woman. It seemed that he had to marry another woman. Zhao Wenshui thought about it. Who could he marry? Several people's faces flashed through his mind, and finally he thought of Chen Chuanxiu. Chen Chuanxiu was a widow, and she had 2 children by herself. It was definitely not easy for her to live. They had hooked up before. If it were not for the stinky woman in the family, it was not impossible for him to be with Chen Chuanxiu. Chen Chuanxiu was much better looking than Li Chuang. When he did it, he felt a different feeling. After eating the same thing too much, he always wanted to change it. Now that he and Li Chuang were divorced, it was equivalent to being single. It did not matter which woman he wanted to be with now, and no one could interfere. If he married Chen Chuanxiu now, no one could say anything about it. Zhao Wenshui thought that he could discuss it with Chen Chuanxiu. He would give 10 taels of silver as a betrothal gift, which was not a small amount in the countryside. Chen Chuanxiu's family was poor, so she might be willing to marry him. With that in mind, Zhao Wenshui ran to Chen Chuanxiu's house. Now that he was separated from Li Chuang, he didn't have to hide so much and went to Chen Chuanxiu's house openly. At this time, Chen Chuanxiu was resting in the courtyard. She had not fully recovered from her previous injuries and could not do any heavy work. Fortunately, Ma Xiaofeng was able to earn some money back. Every day she would buy delicious food to nourish her body. Compared to a few days ago, her body was much better. Xiu, the moment Zhao Wenshui arrived at Chen Chuanxiu's courtyard and saw Chen Chuanxiu, he called her affectionately. Hearing Zhao Wenshui's voice, Chen Chuanxiu frowned and looked in the direction of the voice. Why did this Zhao Wenshui come to his house again? Hadn't she suffered enough from the previous incident? Now she wanted to harm her? Chen Chuanxiu's face was full of displeasure as she scolded, "Who asked you to come over? If other people see you, they will misunderstand and gossip. Hurry up and get out of my sight." Zhao Wenshui did not get angry. Instead, he smiled fawningly and said, "Xiu, why do you have such a bad temper? I finally came to see you and you are still treating me like this. Aren't you afraid that I will be sad?" Zhao Wenshui slowly let go of Chen Chuanxiu. However, Chen Chuanxiu's face was dark. Her eyes looked like she wanted to eat him. "Zhao Wenshui, hurry up and say what you want to say. Don't dawdle. Don't let others see." Chen Chuanxiu impatiently urged him. The sooner he finished, the better. Otherwise she would suffer again. Many people in the village passed by her house every day. Now that their family situation had improved, they had a lot of money. They could live a good life on their own and have the money to send Ma Xiaoyu to school. Chen Chuanxiu flatly refused. "Zhao Wenshui, you should take your money and find another woman. In any case, I can't marry you. You don't want to continue living in the village, but I do." He knew that Ma Xiaofeng definitely wouldn't dare to chop him, so he said to Ma Xiaofeng, "Little Feng, don't be rash. This is between your mother and me. I don't mean anything else." Ma Xiaofeng didn't say anything else and swung the knife in her hand. If Zhao Wenshui hadn't dodged quickly, it would have cut him. Zhao Wenshui patted his chest, still in a state of shock. This Xiaofeng girl must have gone crazy. She really slashed people. Now that he had recovered, his arm was dislocated and he grimaced in pain. Zhao Wenshui's vision turned black, and his divine sense was somewhat blurry. Zhao Wenshui raised his hand and accidentally rubbed against someone's poop on the side of the road, and a foul smell entered his nostrils. After going through this torment, Zhao Wenshui almost collapsed. What on earth had he been through? He had not encountered any unlucky things in the past few years, but he had encountered them in one day. Now he fell to the ground and could not move at all. He could not support himself. Chapter 1996. Because Zhao Wenshui had knocked out one of his front teeth, he had a lisp when he spoke. There was no one else on the road, so he could only lie on the ground. He hoped that someone from the village would pass by and see him so that someone could send him back. At Ma Xiaofeng's house, Chen Chuanxiu heaved a sigh of relief after seeing Zhao Wenshui leave. Ma Xiaofeng put down the knife in her hand and walked to Chen Chuanxiu. She reminded her, "Mother, don't bother with this kind of person next time. If he dares to come to our house again, just chop him to death with a knife just like what I did today. Let's see if he dares to do it again." Chen Chuanxiu sighed and replied, "Little Feng, I understand. I won't let him come again." "Yes, Mother, our family is different now. We have to be careful. Our reputation is already bad, so we can't stand being talked about again. It's fine if it's just the two of us. It doesn't matter if others say it or not, but we have to think about Xiaoyu. Xiaoyu is ostracized by the other children in the village and is often bullied. It's not easy for her." Ma Xiaofeng felt very guilty when she thought of Ma Xiaoyu. If it weren't for her and her mother, she wouldn't have been bullied so much. Although Ma Xiaoyu didn't come back to tell her about the grievances she suffered outside, she would occasionally see it with her own eyes. "Mother knows. We've let Xiaoyu down. It's best if we earn more money in the future and move out of the village. We can buy a house somewhere else where no one knows us and there won't be those rumors. Qian Chuanxiu sighed. Ma Xiaofeng happened to have this plan. Ma Xiaofeng wanted to buy a small residence in Yang City. It didn't need to be big, just 2 or 3 rooms would do. Not only would it be convenient for business, but she could also send Ma Xiaoyu to school to study. In this era, only by studying could one succeed and get their family out of this predicament. Of course, the most important thing was to leave the village and not be mocked by others. Mother, we've slowly accumulated some money now. Although a house in Yang City is very expensive, we'll definitely be able to afford it in a few years. Yes, maybe it won't even take a few years. Why not a few years? Chen Chuanxiu asked curiously. Ma Xiaofeng explained, Mother, it's Zhao Ping'er and Qin Yuan who want to open a restaurant in Yang City. When the time comes, they'll bring me along and give me shares. However, I won't be able to pay that much for the restaurant. The dividends might be lower, but it'll definitely be more profitable than setting up a stall in Yang City. Hearing about opening a restaurant, Qian Chuanxiu immediately became excited. She had also heard of the big restaurants in Sun City. Opening a restaurant was very profitable and many of them were eaten by the rich. As long as it was done well and the business was good, there was no need to worry about not making money. Chapter 1997. Qian Chuanxiu opened her mouth. Why would Zhao Ping'er's aunt, Zhao Xinhui, give money to the couple to open a restaurant? Although Qian Chuanxiu didn't know the reason, she didn't ask too much. Because the reason had nothing to do with her. As long as the restaurant was open and they could make money, everything would be fine. Well, you should look for it as soon as possible. Once you find it, open it quickly. Mother can also benefit from it. Qian Chuanxiu said expectantly. Since Ma Xiaofeng was involved in opening the restaurant, their family naturally had a share in the restaurant. She could boast in the village that her daughter was capable and now opened a restaurant. Ma Xiaofeng nodded in response. Got it, Mother. We're also looking for it now. We found a few that we like. After negotiating the price, it should be enough. That's good, that's good. Thinking of this, Qian Chuanxiu's heart surged with happiness. Her life was getting better and better. Although she had suffered from those disasters and those rumors, her material conditions had greatly improved. Ma Xiaofeng suddenly thought of Zhao Wenshui's visit today. She didn't know why, so she asked a few questions. Mother, why did Zhao Wenshui suddenly come over and pester you today? Qian Chuanxiu answered truthfully. He said that he divorced and wanted to marry me. He gave me 10 taels of silver as a betrothal gift and sent Xiaoyu to school in the future. Ma Xiaofeng snorted softly. Who does he think he is? Who cares about his money? Mother, he caused you so much trouble in the past. Don't agree. Qian Chuanxiu held Ma Xiaofeng's hand and said, Don't worry, Mother is not stupid. How can I agree? We don't care about his money now. Yes, it's only 10 taels of silver. Who cares about it? We don't lack money now. But Mother, I'm not against you getting married, but if you want to get married, you have to choose a reliable man. Don't just casually pick someone, especially someone like Zhao Wenshui. Qian Chuanxiu's heart was touched. She held Ma Xiaofeng's hand and said, Xiaofeng, Mother is already so old. I won't marry again. Don't worry, Mother will only protect you and Xiaoyu. Mother, how can that do? We didn't have a choice before. Now that we can live well, we have to think about ourselves. If we meet a good man, we can marry him. Ma Xiaofeng said with a frown. She knew very well that her mother was not very old. She was in her 30s or 40s. Women in their 30s were like wolves and in their 40s were like tigers. Although her mother didn't say it, nor did she mention it, Ma Xiaofeng knew in her heart that when her mother grew old, she would need a companion and someone to rely on. Ah, Xiaofeng, Mother doesn't want to get married. I only want to protect you and Xiaoyu for the rest of my life. Aren't we living well now? Ma Xiaofeng pursed her lips. Yes, it is. But Mother, if you want to get married one day, don't think about me and Xiaoyu. You have to think about yourself too. Qian Chuanxiu sighed heavily and looked at Ma Xiaofeng with heartache. Xiaofeng, don't talk about Mother. You have to think about yourself. How about after we buy a house in Yang City and no one recognizes us? Mother will help you find a matchmaker, xuanhuan? Chapter 1998. Okay. I won't rush you. You can do whatever you want as long as you're happy. Qian Chuanxiu only felt sorry for Ma Xiaofeng. She knew that with her daughter's current condition, it would not be easy for her to find a good man. She just hoped that a miracle would happen in the future. The mother and daughter chatted for a while before entering the house. As for Zhao Wenshui, he lay on the ground for a long time without seeing anyone pass by. What the hell? Was there no one walking around the village at this time? Why was there not even a shadow of a ghost? It was really strange. Unfortunately, the pain in his body had only dissipated a little. Not only was his arm dislocated, but when he rolled up his trousers, he saw that the skin on his leg was also scraped. No wonder he could not get up despite the pain. Just as Zhao Wenshui was heartbroken and wanted to curse the heavens again, Zhao Ping passed by the roadside with a load of firewood. Zhao Wenshui saw Zhao Ping from afar and shouted excitedly, "Zhao Ping, Zhao Ping." His voice was still a little sluggish. Because he spoke in a hurry, saliva mixed with blood spurted out of Zhao Wenshui's mouth. Zhao Ping looked up and saw Zhao Ping on the ground. Because a tooth was knocked out, Zhao Wenshui's face was covered in blood. He looked like he had suffered a lot. Zhao Ping's heart tightened. He rushed to Zhao Wenshui and asked Zhao Wenshui, "Brother Wenshui, what happened to you? Did someone beat you up?" Zhao Wenshui put on a bitter face and said sadly, "It's not." "Then what happened? You're hurt like this?" Zhao Ping asked. Zhao Wenshui did not know how to answer for a moment. If he said that he accidentally fell down, wouldn't it be even more embarrassing? There was no one in the entire village like him who could make someone fall so miserably while walking. If word got out, people would probably laugh at him for having eyes on the top of his head. Or perhaps he was blind and had wasted his eyes. Zhao Wenshui quickly changed the topic and begged Zhao Wenshui, "It's nothing. Zhao Ping, I'm in so much pain that I can't get up and my hand is dislocated. Can you send me back?" Zhao Ping hurriedly replied, Good. Brother Wenshui, I'm coming." With that, Zhao Ping helped Zhao Wenshui up from the ground. He accidentally touched Zhao Wenshui's arm and Zhao Wenshui screamed in pain. "Zhao Ping, be gentle. You're hurting me." Zhao Ping said somewhat embarrassedly, "Brother Wenshui, I'm sorry. I didn't notice that I was a bit heavy-handed. Are you all right?" "I'm about to die from the pain, how can I be fine?" Zhao Wenshui complained, feeling that Zhao Ping was doing it on purpose. He clearly saw that he was injured like this. Why couldn't he be gentler? Why did he have to be so forceful? "Brother Wenshui, just bear with it. You'll be fine after we call a doctor to check on you," Zhao Ping comforted him. However, Zhao Wenshui's reaction was a bit too exaggerated. He was a grown man. If he was injured, so be it. There was no need to open his mouth and complain about the pain. He saw that many men's arms were broken, but they did not make a sound. What bad luck. Zhao Wenshui muttered a few words and spat out a mouthful of blood. Zhao Ping had to help Zhao Wenshui walk, but he also had to be careful not to hurt him. The two of them moved very slowly, and it took a while for them to reach old Zhao's courtyard. Chapter 1999. Zhao Yun came to old Zhao's house to discuss the preparation of the banquet with Feng Xianxia. They were waiting for Zhao Qianhu's wedding preparations. Now that Zhao Qianhu's wedding was almost done, he would go to the bride's house to pick Jianghu up in 2 days. During these days, the first branch's people had made some preparations. Zhao Qianhu's wedding room had also been prepared, so the conditions for picking up the bride were naturally ripe. Zhao Qianhu was also at the side with a shy face. After so many days, he had been looking forward to marrying Jianghu. Now his wish had finally been fulfilled. Now, as long as he thought about having a wife, Zhao Qianhu was extremely excited. Feng Xianxia was also very concerned about her son's wedding. As long as Zhao Yun told her what she needed, she would carefully remember it. "Yun girl, do you need anything else? Think about it, don't leave anything behind. Otherwise it would be troublesome to make another trip to town." Zhao Yun shook her head, "No, just buy according to these." "Okay then." Feng Xianxia calculated in her heart. Buying these things and arranging them would cost a total of 3 taels of silver. After all, there were also things to give to the bride's side. Marrying a wife was not an easy thing, and the expenses were very high. Fortunately, she had gotten 15 taels of silver from Zhao Wenshui. With this money she would be richer. Originally she had planned to build a house, but now she thought about it and decided not to. Building a house was not a small expense. Although she did not have to see Zhao Wenshui every day, it made her family's life difficult. Now there was not much time before Zhao Tianlong's examination. Once Zhao Tianlong passed the examination, he would be able to become an official. At that time they would not need to live in the shabby house in the countryside. They would definitely move together to a big house in the city. In this way it would be a waste to build a separate house in the countryside. It was better to use the silver to buy more delicious food during this period of time to improve the quality of life at home. When they were almost done discussing, they heard Zhao Wenshui's cries from afar. When he looked towards the entrance of the courtyard, he saw that Zhao Wenshui had returned with injuries all over his body. He looked extremely miserable. He didn't know if Zhao Wenxue had been beaten up or something. However, no one in old Zhao's family cared about Zhao Wenxue even though he was badly injured. They all knew that Zhao Wenxue was a bastard. He deserved it no matter how much pain he suffered. Feng Xianxia glanced at Zhao Wenxue and saw that one of Zhao Wenshue's teeth was knocked out. She was angry and disgusted at the sight of Zhao Wenxue, so she pretended to care about him and asked, "Hey, second brother, what happened to you? Who beat you so hard? Could it be that you've offended someone again by running out?" Zhao Wenxue was in so much pain that he did not have the strength to speak. Of course he did not want to speak. Zhao Ping explained, "Sister-in-law, I saw brother Wenshue's injuries on the way here. I don't know what happened. It seems like his teeth are knocked out, his arm is dislocated, and there are scars on his legs. It's really tragic. Why don't you help him into the house? Also help him find a doctor to take a look at him. These injuries have to be treated properly, otherwise, it will be serious." Old Zhao's family was gloating over Zhao Wenshue's injuries. They were too happy to care about him. After all, his life and death had nothing to do with them. Chapter 2000. Zhao Ping frowned and said worriedly, "But sister-in-law, brother Wenshue's injury is really serious. If it's not treated properly, the wound will fester and it may even harm his life. His hand is also dislocated. We have to call a doctor to reattach it as soon as possible. Otherwise, what if his hand is damaged and he can't use it?" Feng Xianxia snorted and said, "Zhao Ping, why did you care about him? He must have suffered the consequences of his own actions. He deserves it. We don't have the obligation to care about him." "But..." Zhao Ping frowned and glanced at Zhao Wenxue, then at Feng Xianxia. He sighed and said, "Don't you care about brother Wenxue now? Zhao Ping, don't drag us down with you. We don't have the time or energy to care about him," Feng Xianxia said and turned to enter the house, not giving Zhao Ping a chance to continue. Zhao Yuner almost laughed when she saw Zhao Wenxue like this. She was very curious about who would get rid of a scourge for the people and beat up Zhao Wenxue like this. Zhao Qianhu originally wanted to help Zhao Wenxue and call a doctor for Zhao Wenxue. However, after Feng Xianxia saw through Zhao Qianhu's thoughts, she shouted at Zhao Qianhu, "Qianhu, what are you doing outside? Come in quickly. I still have to discuss with you what happened on your wedding day." Zhao Qianhu glanced at Zhao Wenxue, then sighed and silently entered the house. Zhao Ping frowned. He was very curious about what was wrong with old Zhao's family. Zhao Wenxue was injured like this, so why were they so indifferent? "Brother Wenxue, I still have something to do and I have to go back. I have to help someone with the work later. I'm afraid I won't be able to make it. Can you see if anyone in your family can take care of you?" Zhao Ping asked Zhao Wenxue. He had originally planned to only send Zhao Wenxue back. He had other things to do, so how could he care so much? Unfortunately, when he arrived at old Zhao's house, he encountered such a situation. Zhao Wenxue stuttered, You call my father and my mother." He had knocked out a tooth and injured his mouth. If he spoke a little louder, his mouth would hurt badly. Zhao Ping replied, "All right, I'll shout." "Yes." Zhao Ping shouted towards old Zhao's courtyard, "Second uncle, second aunt, are you home? Can you come out for a while?" After hearing Zhao Ping's voice, xuanhuan poked her head out of the house. "What are you doing?" "Second aunt, brother Wenxue is injured. Quickly come out and take a look. Get a doctor for him. I have to go now. Take good care of her." When xuanhuan heard this, she glanced at Zhao Wenxue who was beside Zhao Ping. It would have been better if she hadn't seen him, but she was shocked when she saw him. Zhao Wenxue didn't look like a human at all. He looked like a ghost. Although she didn't like Zhao Wenxue, she couldn't bear to see Zhao Wenxue being bullied like this. xuanhuan immediately yelled at the top of her voice, "I say, Lao Air, what happened to you? You look like a ghost." Zhao Ping hurriedly said, "Second aunt, don't ask so much. Get a doctor for brother Wenxue first and treat his injury." He had to send Zhao Wenxue into the house. However, he really couldn't find a doctor. He said to Zhao Wenxue apologetically, "Brother Wenxue, wait and see if anyone in your family can help you find a doctor. If not, I'll help you call Dr. Sun when I come back from work. I really can't spare the time now." Zhao Wenxue responded sadly. He had never been as desperate as he was now. It was really sad that the whole family was like this. Chapter 2002. Seeing that Zhao Ping was leaving, Zhao Yun caught up with Zhao Ping since it was on the way. Zhao Ping smiled at Zhao Yun. "Yun, you're here too." "Yeah." Zhao Yun responded. "How's the kitten I sent to you now? Is it alive?" Zhao Ping was a little concerned about the kitten's life. The cubs that he had at home were almost all dead. There was no other way. If the old cat didn't have food, it wouldn't have milk. How could the little cubs survive? Xiaoyun responded, "Yeah, it's well now. It's a lot fatter than before." Zhao Ping's face was filled with relief. He smiled and said, "That's good, that's good. That's right." Zhao Ping voiced out the doubts in his heart. Girl, do you know what happened between your grandmother, your aunt, and your second uncle? Why is it that your second uncle is so badly injured, but the whole family doesn't care about him at all?" Speaking of this, Zhao Yuner smiled and said, "Uncle Zhao, if it weren't for you, no one would care about my second uncle's life or death." Zhao Ping was even more puzzled. Why is that? Zhao Yuner told Zhao Ping about Zhao Wenshui's matter. Although family scandals shouldn't be aired in public, Zhao Yuner knew that Zhao Ping was very tight-lipped. As a man, he wasn't like those women who liked to gossip. After hearing Zhao Yuner's words, Zhao Ping opened his mouth and sighed. He was wondering why Feng Xianxia was so hostile to Zhao Wenshui. Most people wouldn't like Zhao Wenshui. How could he do such a thing? It turned out that this was the reason why Li Chuang and Zhao Wenshui divorced. Zhao Ping cursed in a low voice, "So he's really worse than a beast." Looking at Zhao Ping's behavior, he knew that he was a righteous person. When others were in trouble, he did not hesitate to help. He was really a good man. Zhao Yuner smiled and said, "So, Uncle Zhao, next time you don't have to care about his life or death. As the saying goes, good deeds have good karma, and evil deeds have evil karma. What he ate today is the cause he planted in the past." Zhao Ping felt that Zhao Yuner's words were very reasonable. No wonder Zhao Wenshui could fall like this. It seemed that God had deliberately punished him. Yes. Yuner girl, I understand. I won't interfere in this matter in the future." Zhao Yuner nodded, and the two of them went their separate ways. The weather had become much hotter in the past few days, and it had officially entered the scorching summer. In order to sleep better at night, Zhao Yuner would make some ice cubes every day and put them in the room to cool down. It was indeed more comfortable at night. During this time she had also made a lot of iced sweet soup. The family did not eat much, but everyone would drink a lot of iced sweet soup. However, if they were not careful, they would easily have diarrhea. Zhao Yuner had to watch them every day and chase after them to remind them. Only then did they control themselves a little. Especially Liang Jinxiao. After all, she was pregnant, so Zhao Yuner did not dare to let her eat food that was too cold. Soon it was the big day of Zhao Tianhu's wedding. The people of the first branch were very generous and arranged a very grand ceremony. They specially rented a sedan chair and spent a few hundred copper coins to bring them back. The people were all recruited from the village. There were more than a dozen people in the wedding procession, and several of old Zhao's uncles and nephews were all present. Zhao Wenhua and Zhao Wentao directly became the sedan bearers. The two of them carried the sedan chair, and it was more than enough to carry Jianghu. Chapter 2003. This way they could save the first branch's wages. If they found someone else to carry the sedan chair, they would have to pay at least a few dozen copper coins. Later they would ask the first branch to give the two brothers more wine to drink. They were a family and it was Zhao Tianhu's big day. Naturally they wouldn't care so much. Zhao Tianhu was wearing a bright red wedding dress. Feng Xianxia had specially brought Zhao Tianhu to the town to make this wedding dress. Originally, she was reluctant to make this wedding dress for Zhao Tianhu. Later, after she received the 15 taels of silver from Zhao Wenshui, she happened to have some money in her hands. Thus, she gritted her teeth and decided to hold a grand wedding. She spent nearly 1 tael of silver to make this wedding dress. As the saying goes, people rely on clothes and Buddha relies on gold. Usually, Zhao Tianhu wore coarse clothes and didn't feel very handsome. This time, after changing into a wedding dress and dressing up a little, his entire spirit was completely different. He looked extraordinarily handsome. Among the young men in the village, he was definitely outstanding in appearance. Zhao Yuner stared at Zhao Tianhu a few more times and revealed a satisfied expression. Zhao Tianhu was a little embarrassed by Zhao Yuner's gaze. He asked Zhao Yun, younger sister Yun, why do you keep staring at me? What's so good about me? Zhao Yuner teased, isn't that so? Second cousin is so handsome today. How can I not look at you a few more times? If you ask me, second cousin is going to pick up the bride like this, the bride will definitely be infatuated. Zhao Tianhu was originally a thin-skinned person. After being praised by Zhao Yuner, his ears turned red. He lowered his head and said, younger sister Yun, don't tease me. How can I be considered handsome? Compared to Shiziyi, it's like heaven and earth. I can't compare at all. There's no need to compare with Shiziyi. Second cousin is indeed handsome compared to the other men in the village. Eldest aunt, fourth aunt, don't you think so? Both of them chuckled and replied, yes, 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 of course. My Xianhu has never been so handsome. It seems that it's because he doesn't dress up on weekdays. It's not bad to dress up a little. Yes, our old Zhao's children are the best in appearance in the village. Mother, fourth aunt. Feng Xianxia and Chen Hongzhao's words made Zhao Qianhu even more. Feng Xianxia patted Zhao Qianhu's shoulder and said, all right, bridegroom, if you're ready, then set off quickly. Don't miss the auspicious hour. Zhao Qianhu blushed as he responded, but in his heart he was looking forward to bringing the bride back soon. Today's Zhao Yunzss, he heard that the bride's day was the most beautiful day in a woman's life. At this moment he couldn't wait to see Jianghu as soon as possible. He wanted to see how she dressed up. Mother, I'm going. Chapter 2004. Zhao Qianhu originally didn't know how to ride a horse, but for today's wedding he had been practicing under Mu Lianfeng's guidance. Although his skills weren't that good, it wasn't a problem for him to use it for the wedding. The rest of the people followed behind the palanquin. Soon the group of people left the village and rushed towards the bride's village. Old Zhao's family didn't fall behind either. Zhao Yun went into the kitchen and started preparing. She was once again in charge of the banquet. This time there were still many guests attending the banquet. Even Shen Panner's parents and the first branch's in-laws came to celebrate. After all, it was Zhao Qianhu's wedding. It would be too distant if they didn't attend such a joyous occasion that concerned the first branch. The Shen family wasn't very willing to live in such a remote place. After arriving and seeing the situation of old Zhao's family, they felt even more distressed for their son and daughter who had to suffer in such a place. Fortunately, Zhao Tianlong had taken the imperial examination this year. The probability of him passing the imperial examination was very high. They also waited until the clouds parted to see the moon. The bitter days would soon come to an end. Once Shen Pan became the wife of an official, she naturally wouldn't have to suffer in such a remote place. In addition to bringing money as a gift, the Shen family was very generous and brought a lot of good things. Of course, most of them were for their daughter. Since they couldn't eat well in the countryside, they brought some of Shen Panner's and Zhao Yangyang's favorite snacks. There were pastries, candied fruits, beef jerky, peanuts, and other things. The carriage stopped outside old Zhao's courtyard. The villagers rarely saw such a grand carriage, so they began to talk about it. What kind of important person came to old Zhao's family? Who knows? Old Zhao's family knows too many rich people. They even have a relationship with the Shizi. What's so strange about the rest? That's true. Old Zhao's family now is different from before. Everyone in the Shizi branch got lucky and suddenly became rich. Didn't I say that it's because the ancestral tomb was well repaired and blessed by the old ancestor in heaven? Otherwise, how could it be like this? As soon as she heard about the matter of repairing the ancestral grave, Hu Shi, who had come to join in the fun, was a little unhappy. They had also built ancestral tombs, but why hadn't their branch prospered like Zhao Baoshan's branch? Madame Hu pushed Zhao Baojun angrily. Zhao Baojun staggered and almost fell to the ground. She unhappily said to Hu Shi, I say, woman, why did you push me? I almost fell because of you. I'm already so old. If I fall on the ground, my bones will be scattered by you. Aren't you afraid of killing me? Madame Hu coldly snorted, you deserve it if you fall to your death. Zhao Baojun was a little annoyed. I say, you old woman, what are you doing? Why are you throwing a tantrum at me for no reason? When did I offend you? You're always provoking me. Just looking at you makes me angry. It's all your fault, you useless thing. You're definitely not favored by the old ancestor. Look at the children of second brother's branch, they're all so rich. Our branch didn't get any benefits at all. The old ancestor didn't bless us at all. Zhao Baojun increasingly felt that Hu Shi was looking for trouble. She was baffling. Chapter 2005. Madame Hu felt very uncomfortable in her heart, so she made an example of Zhao Baojun. Regardless of whether what he said was right or not, she would feel better if she found fault with him. How can it not be your fault? It must be because you weren't filial to your elders in the past and weren't liked by them. After they died, they didn't remember to bless you. Because of that, our branch didn't get any benefits after building the tomb. Look, your second son's branch has all become rich. When Qianhu got married, he had a big bridal sedan and even rode a horse. He had earned a lot of prestige. Tell me, in comparison, don't you think our branch is too shabby? Madame Hu said angrily. She was very envious of old Zhao's family. Zhao Baojun felt a little uncomfortable when he heard this. The second branch was rich now. What could he do? Even if he was envious and jealous, what was the use? In any case, it couldn't be blamed on him. Instead of being envious of others, it was better to think about how their branch could become rich. You old woman, I think you're just looking for trouble. You have to push the blame to me. Didn't our third and fourth branches also build tombs? I didn't see them become rich. Really? Zhao Baojun replied in dissatisfaction. Madam who wanted to make a fuss, but Zhao Baojun's words stopped her. Don't make a fuss. It was originally fine, but because of your fuss, we became a joke to others. Madam who looked around and saw that many people's eyes fell on her. Some of them even covered their mouths and secretly laughed. Only then did Madam who shut her mouth resentfully. At this time, a few people came out of the carriage parked in front of old Zhao's house. They were Xin Pan'er's family. There was a middle-aged man in his 40s and a woman in her 40s. However, because their family was rich, the two of them were dressed luxuriously and had a very different temperament from the country people. Especially Xin Pan'er's mother, Madame Yang. Compared to Feng Xianxia, Madame Yang was well dressed. Her clothes and jewelry were not bad, and she probably had rouge on her face. She looked very young and there were no wrinkles on her face. She still looked pretty. The people in the courtyard saw this, especially the men. They stared at Madame Yang with a hint of amazement in their eyes. They thought that rich people were indeed rich people. If their wives could dress up like this, it would be great. Every day when they went home, they would see a beautiful woman and not an old woman. Madame Yang ignored these people and walked towards old Zhao's courtyard with Xin Pan'er's father, Xuanhuan. The coachman behind them carried some boxes filled with gifts. Sister-in-law, your in-laws are here. Why don't you hurry up and entertain them? Qian Zans saw them and hurriedly greeted Feng Xianxia. What? My in-laws are here? Feng Xianxia, who was still busy in the kitchen, suddenly stopped what she was doing. Yes, he's in the courtyard. Get out of here. All right. Feng Xianxia was a little excited. She quickly wiped her hands with a rag and rushed into the courtyard. As soon as she saw the Shen family, she immediately put on a smile. Ah, in-laws, you're here. It's so troublesome to come all the way here. Of course, Feng Xianxia was just being polite. In her heart, she was looking forward to the Shen family's arrival. Not to mention other things, they would definitely bring some gifts. They would also give Zhao Tianhu's wedding gift. Chapter 2006. This way their family would naturally make a profit. Thinking of the good things and money, Feng Xianxia's smile widened. The Shen family also replied politely, Tianlong's younger brother is getting married. This is a joyous occasion for your family. As in-laws, how can we not come? Madame Yang also replied, yes, it's a joyous occasion for your family. As in-laws, we naturally have to come and join in the fun. We haven't seen Pan-er and Yang for a while. This time we can also take a look at them. Feng Xianxia laughed and replied, that's good, that's good. Pan-er and Yang are always talking about you at home. Yes, Madame Yang replied. However, she snorted coldly in her heart. With old Zhao's current condition, her daughter and grandson were suffering. How could they not talk about them? Especially Yang. Such a young child had to eat more delicious food to nourish his body and grow taller and fatter. She saw that the children from the poor families were not as fair and tender. They were far from being comparable to the children from the rich families. Feng Xianxia hurriedly invited Xuanhuan and Madame Yang into the house to sit. Then she poured 2 cups of cold water and said, in-laws, you must be tired from the journey. Drink some water first. Okay. Madame Yang took the cup, but she frowned in disgust. The things used by the villagers were shabby, so they were a little dirty. Madame Yang was a clean person and was a little obsessed with cleanliness. Therefore, she looked at the cup that Feng Xianxia handed her with disdain. However, she was indeed a little thirsty. Madame Yang took out her handkerchief and wiped the cup before reluctantly drinking the water inside. Feng Xianxia looked at them awkwardly. She was not a fool. How could she not see that Madame Yang was disdainful of her family? However, she could not say it out loud. Who asked them to be from a rich family? They were very particular about the things they used. It was normal for them to look down on the things that the villagers used. After comparing, Feng Xianxia hoped that Zhao Tianlong would be able to stand out and become a high-ranking official in the future. Then, her life would be more particular. In-laws, please take a seat first. Pan-er and Yang are both in the room. I'll go call them out, Feng Xianxia said. Madame Yang smiled and nodded. All right, then I'll have to trouble you, in-law. I'm fine. Feng Xianxia hurriedly waved her hand. She then went to Xin Pan'er's room and greeted her. Pan-er, your parents are here. Let's go out and have a chat. When Shenpan heard this, she replied excitedly, "Okay." Then she carried Zhao Yangyang out of the room. Seeing this family's daughter and grandson, Xuanhuan and Madame Yang immediately smiled. The family sat together and chatted. Seeing that Zhao Yangyang was closer to Madame Yang than to her, Feng Xianxia felt a little uncomfortable. Zhao Yangyang's surname was Zhao, and he was her biological grandson. Logically speaking, he should be closer to her. After all, he had only spent a little more time with her on a daily basis. Most people's grandchildren and the elders of the bride's family were a little more distant. Only their family was a little abnormal. Thinking about it, it was because the Shen family was rich and the Zhao family was poor. Zhao Yangyang's snacks were all bought by the Shen family. Children were gluttons. Wouldn't they nag at whoever bought the most? My family's Jew is very satisfied. Even if it's not good, she'll still say it's good, Zhou Damei replied. He directly pushed the matter of finding a husband to Jianghu, saying that Jianghu was willing to do it. In this way no one could say anything. Zhou Damei, we all know that you usually don't like Jew the most. This time you're in a good mood and let her choose her own husband. Someone mocked. Chapter 2008. Everyone laughed for a moment. Alright. Zhou Damei, don't pretend in front of us. We all know how you treat Jew. It's not something you can say with just a few words. Zhou Damei said angrily, you gossipy old women, you haven't even seen the person coming to pick up the bride, and you're already talking about Jewer's in-laws. Can't we talk about it after we see them? Okay, let's wait and see. It should be soon. The people in the courtyard were waiting. If the person coming to pick up the bride was not good, there would be people talking about Zhou Damei. Zhou Damei turned and entered the house, afraid that she would hear the gossips of those gossipy old women in the courtyard. At this time, Jianghu had already dressed up and was sitting in front of the stool. She was wearing a wedding dress and dressed up a little. She could be regarded as a beautiful woman. The main thing was that she had a good foundation and looked delicate. Zhou Damei's eyes suddenly lit up and she praised Jianghu. Ah, Jew girl, you're dressed up so well today. You're not worse than those rich young ladies in the town. Being praised like this, especially by Zhou Damei, it was rare to hear praise from her mouth. Jianghu's face slightly blushed. Mother? Where am I good looking? Good looking, of course you're good looking. You're much prettier than the other girls in the village. If the bridegroom sees this, he'll be infatuated with you tonight and kneel under your pomegranate skirt. Zhou Damei said directly. Jianghu also understood what she meant, and her face blushed even more. Zhou Damei smiled. Jewer girl, what's there to be embarrassed about? You're getting married today. This kind of adult thing must be experienced. Jianghu shyly responded, and her face blushed even more. Zhou Damei took Jianghu's hand and sighed, Ai Jewer girl, seeing you get married and being able to marry into a good family, my conscience is happy for you. Although I'm not your biological mother, you're also not my biological daughter. But after being together for so long, we're still mother and daughter. Seeing you get married, my conscience is really reluctant. As she spoke, Zhou Damei actually shed tears. She used her sleeve to wipe the corners of her eyes. The first half of the sentence might have sounded fake, but the second half was true. Seeing Jianghu get married, she naturally couldn't bear to part with her. After all, with Jianghu around, Jianghu could help with a lot of work. But once Jianghu got married, she would be the only woman left in the family. She had to do everything herself. At her age, doing this kind of work must be exhausting. It wasn't as comfortable as when Jianghu was at home. Jianghu raised her head and looked at Zhou Damei. Her eyes were also red. Zhou Damei had treated her harshly all these years, but at least she didn't interfere in her marriage this time. Jianghu was very grateful for this. Otherwise, if he casually sold her to others and let her live in poverty, she would not have any hope for the rest of her life. For her, at least she had endured the previous hardships. As long as she was with Zhao Tianhu, she believed that she and Zhao Tianhu would work hard together. Their future days would be better. Mother, you also take good care of yourself. Take good care of my father and brother. Although I'm married, I will miss you. When I have time, I will come back to see you. Jianghu choked. Chapter 2009. It was also the first time Jianghu was so close to Zhou Damei, so she wasn't used to it. However, she was about to leave this house soon. No matter how Zhou Damei held her hand, she wouldn't resist. At this time there was a lively noise outside the house. It was the sound of gongs and drums. Someone shouted outside, "The bridegroom is here, the bridegroom is here." Zhou Damei suddenly became excited and said to Jianghu, "Jewer, Quickly prepare in the house and cover your head with the red veil. Mother will go out and take a look. Jianghu nodded heavily. Yes, mother? Zhou Damei went out of the house and took a look at the bridegroom's procession. It would have been better if she didn't see it. Once she saw it, she was shocked by the scene in front of her. Not only did old Zhao's people carry a sedan chair over, but Zhao Qianhu also rode a horse over to pick up the bride. The bridegroom's procession had more than 10 people, and they were beating gongs and drums. It was really very impressive. This made it seem like a rich family. Zhou Damei knew in her heart that although old Zhao's family conditions were good, they weren't rich to this extent. However, Zhao Qianhu's bridegroom's procession naturally gave their Jin family face. Especially those women who said that she treated Jianghu harshly, their mouths must have been blocked and they couldn't say anything. Seeing Zhao Qianhu coming over, many people started to chatter. Aya, this bridegroom's procession is amazing. It seems that Zhuer's stepmother really found her conscience and married Zhuer to a good in-laws family. Isn't that so? This style, how many families can do it? Zhuer's in-laws family doesn't look simple. It's really strange. Why did this Zhou Damei suddenly become so kind-hearted and actually help Zhuer find a good in-laws family? In my opinion, it's not very strange. Maybe she felt that they were rich and wanted to climb up a good in-laws family. When Zhuer marries over, Zhou Damei's gift money will not be small. Otherwise, with her temperament, how could she casually marry Zhuer? That makes sense. Maybe she's relying on someone else's money. The man's family gave her a lot of money, so she naturally agreed. To put it bluntly, this Zhou Damei just wants money. Would she be so good without money? Zhou Damei was standing not far away. Hearing these women's discussion, she felt a little angry. No matter what she did, it would not end well for her, so she angrily rushed towards those women. What nonsense are you talking about? You only know how to erase me. Little Zhuer got married, but I didn't get much benefit. The gift was only 3 taels of silver. Don't all the girls in our village get married at this price? Zhou Damei, stop talking nonsense. Who would believe you? That's right, Zhou Damei. Who doesn't know that you're greedy and kind-hearted? Zhou Damei rolled up her sleeves angrily and said to the women, I dare you to spout nonsense again. Your mouths are on your bodies, so you don't have to take responsibility for your nonsense? Seeing this, old man Jin hurriedly came over and said, Okay, don't say any more. Sisters-in-law, what Damei said is true. Our family really only asked for 3 taels of silver as gift money this time. Although Damei usually does something wrong, but this time Zhuer really didn't lose out. Chapter 2010. This old man Jin usually likes to protect Zhou Damei and is a henpecked husband. Otherwise, Jianghu has suffered so many grievances since Zhou Damei married into the Jin family. As long as old man Jin can make the decision to help Jianghu can suffer a lot less. But now it seems that Jianghu's bitter days are coming to an end. This in-laws family is so big that it must be a good family. If Jianghu can marry into such a family, she will definitely be able to enjoy life in the future. Zhou Damei's face is sullen. Her mood is a little bad because of these gossipy old women. Old man Jin pats Zhou Damei's shoulder. Damei, you go to the house to accompany little Zhuer. Later you have to help little Zhuer out. I will take care of the wedding party. Zhou Damei nods. Okay, then I will go in. Zhou Damei says and turns to go into the house. An old man Jin walks towards the wedding party. The wedding party stops in the Jin family's courtyard. Zhao Qianhu jumped down from the horse's back and landed on the ground. Originally he is very handsome after dressing up, but now he looks even more handsome. Many young girls who come to join in the fun exclaim when they see Zhao Qianhu. Don't say little Zhuer is really lucky. The bridegroom has a dignified appearance and is extraordinarily handsome. There is no one more handsome than him in their village. Yes, I don't know how the Jin family found such a good marriage. Perhaps the heavens have blessed Jianghu lass. She has suffered too much over the years and has arranged a good marriage to compensate Jianghu lass. That is possible. Little Jianghu has suffered so much. She can't continue to suffer for the rest of her life. Those who say this are all women. Those young girls who are full of love are all envious. If only I can find such a husband when I get married. Yes, his family is rich and handsome. Marrying such a man must be very happy, right? Seeing such a man makes me want to get married. As soon as the young girl's words fell, a woman next to her heard and slapped the young girl's head. The young girl exclaims and says to the woman discontentedly, Mother, what are you doing? Why did you hit me? The woman's face is calm as she reprimands. What's wrong with hitting you? A 13 or 14-year-old girl is so shameless. Now you want to get married? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Mother, next time I hear you say these shameless things, see if I don't break your legs. The little girl bitterly shut her mouth, but reluctantly. She glances at Zhao Qianhu, she glances at her future husband to see Zhao Qianhu's appearance. Uncle. Zhao Qianhu was a little nervous facing Old Man Jin, so he smiled and called out. Old Man Jin pretended to be angry and glared at Zhao Qianhu. You child, what are you calling me? Are you still calling me uncle today? Zhao Qianhu is stunned. Realizing that he called the wrong name, he shyly smiles and then calls Old Man Jin, Father, that's right. Old Man Jin shows a satisfied smile. Chapter 2011. Coupled with the envious words he heard from the crowd, Old Man Jin felt that he had gained a lot of face. He was usually a prideful person. Now that his daughter was able to marry into a good family, others would definitely say that he was a good father. In-law. Xuanhuan stepped forward and greeted Old Man Jin. His son was getting married today, so Xuanhuan had specially changed into a new set of clothes. He was beaming with joy. Haha, in-law. Old Man Jin also replied. Your family is so grand today. Old Man Jin sighed. They must have spent a lot of money to make such a big show. However, the fact that the Zhao family was willing to spend this money was enough to show how much the Zhao family valued the Jin family. Xuanhuan smiled and replied, Of course. The marriage of 2 children is a big event. We, the Zhao family, will naturally do what we can. Ah, yes. Wait a moment, the bride will be out soon. Old Man Jin said with a smile. Hearing Old Man Jin's words, Zhao Qianhu nervously rubbed his hands and looked in the direction of the house. At this moment he was especially looking forward to seeing what Jianghu looked like. Thinking about Jianghu's small face, he reckoned that she would be very beautiful today. At this moment, standing in the Jin family's courtyard and waiting, every second seemed to be prolonged. His heart was thumping non-stop. At this moment, Zhou Damei and Jianghu were also preparing in the house. Zhou Damei covered Jianghu with the red veil, then said, Little Zhu, the groom is here. It's time to take you away. Jianghu responded shyly. Zhou Damei smiled and said, I saw the groom when I went out of the house just now. The groom is very handsome today. The young ladies outside are all envious of you. Jianghu, who was under the red veil, couldn't help but blush. Mother, Qianhu isn't that handsome. It wasn't like she hadn't seen him before. How could she not know what Zhao Qianhu looked like? Zhou Damei smiled and said, Isn't that so, little Zhu? As the saying goes, clothes make the man. He dressed up a little today and he is indeed extraordinarily handsome. You didn't see it, but you'll know when you see it tonight. Speaking of the night, they would definitely consummate their marriage. Jianghu felt a burst of shyness in her heart. Her hand tightly grasped the corner of her clothes. Zhou Damei continued, Little Zhu, this time we came to pick you up and even prepared a bridal sedan for you. That child, Qianhu, came here on horseback. You're definitely the best person to marry in our village, the most glorious. Your father and I are proud of you. Zhou Damei's tone was somewhat emotional. Jianghu was slightly startled when she heard this, but the red veil couldn't hide the smile on her lips. All right. Let's not talk about this anymore. Little Jianghu, get ready to go. Zhou Damei helped Jianghu up from the stool. A hint of reluctance emerged in her heart. Thinking of how she would have to do so much housework alone in the future, Zhou Damei's heart was extremely tired. Although she was a stepmother, Zhou Damei still had to put on an act. As soon as she sent Jianghu out, Zhou Damei began to cry. Oh, my little Zhu, mother can't bear to see you get married. Little Zhu, a married daughter is like spilled water. In the future, when you go to old Zhao's house, you have to remember to come back to see me and your father. Little Zhu, I will bring Zhu to see you often. Only then did Zhou Damei choke out a few words and respond. The matchmaker shouted, Okay. The auspicious time is here. Let's get up. Father, mother, then I'm leaving. Zhao Qianhu said. Chapter 2013. Let's go. Old Man Jin muttered. Zhao Qianhu leaped onto the horse's back again. Then the horse walked in front, and the people carrying the sedan followed behind. After a while, the group of people left in a grandiose manner. Looking at the backs of these people leaving, Old Man Jin's gaze was somewhat reluctant to move away. At this time, Zhou Damei also wiped away her tears. Okay, Zhu's mother, go busy yourself with the banquet. Our family's banquet can start now. Okay. Zhou Damei replied. The banquet would be busy for a while. Naturally, she couldn't handle it alone. She gave some money and invited a young wife in the village who knew how to cook. She let her cook for a while and called a few people to help her. Otherwise, this banquet wouldn't be able to be held at all. The people who came to drink today were all from the village and some relatives. The banquet could more or less earn some money. The wedding procession rushed in the direction of old Zhao's house. Zhao Qianhu sat on the horse's back, turning his head to look back from time to time. At this time, Jianghu was sitting in the sedan with a red veil on her head. He didn't have the chance to look at Jianghu even if he wanted to. He could only resentfully look away. At old Zhao's house, after waiting for some time, the wedding procession finally brought the bride back. Suddenly, the village was filled with lively voices. Someone shouted, "The bride is here, the bride is here." The adults stretched their heads to look, but the children rushed out immediately. Usually, on wedding occasions they would sprinkle candy. Children loved the candy, so naturally they would be greedy for the candy that was sprinkled. The people of the first branch were more prideful, so this time, they weren't stingy and bought a lot of candy. Seeing the children rushing over, xuanhuan grabbed a handful and scattered it on the ground. The children immediately rushed up to snatch it. Today xuanhuan saw the envious eyes of others along the way and felt even more proud. At this time he was very happy. The sisters-in-law in the kitchen stopped what they were doing and came out to join in the fun. Although old Zhao's family had also held a wedding in the past, it was always a marriage of a daughter. This time, Zhao Qianhu married another family's daughter. The situation was different. Because it was different, everyone was happy and came out to join in the fun. Feng Xianxia was the happiest. Now that Zhao Qianhu had married his wife, her family had nothing to worry about. Their lives were getting better and better. Zhao Yuner didn't know about the customs of the ancient country people, so she found it very interesting. The bride was helped down from the sedan chair by the wedding nanny. Then she stepped over the brazier and was sent into the bridal chamber. The bridal chamber was specially prepared for the couple. It was red and festive. The people in the courtyard jeered. After the commotion, they found a stool and sat down, knowing that the banquet was about to begin. This time, in order to avoid a situation like the previous banquets held by old Zhao's family, where there weren't enough seats and some people couldn't sit at the table. This time, the first branch deliberately set up 2 more tables to prevent such a situation from happening. Everyone in the courtyard sat down, but it wasn't completely full. There were several empty seats. The people of the first branch didn't care much. A table of banquet actually didn't cost much. They got so much money from Zhao Wenshui and still had a lot of money left. This kind of joyous occasion had to be held grandly and respectfully to give the first branch face. Chapter 2014. Zhao Yun was already very skilled at cooking and matching dishes. After a while, dishes were placed on the table. Zhao Wenshui was about to set off the firecrackers, which meant that the banquet was about to begin. Because he was blown up by the firecrackers last time, Zhao Wenshui was also a little traumatized by them this time, so he asked others to help him set them off. Fortunately, everything was fine and the banquet started smoothly. At this time, Zhao Wenshui was lying in the room. Last time he was seriously injured. After Zhao Ping left, he fainted directly on the bed and didn't get up for a long time. Later, xuanhuan couldn't stand it anymore. She was afraid that Zhao Wenshui would really die in the room, so she ran out at night and called Dr. Sun over to treat Zhao Wenshui's injuries. However, because Zhao Wenshui's injuries were too serious, he lay in bed for several days and still didn't recover. Although he was awake now, he couldn't move too much. Zhao Wenshui thought that it was better when Li Chuiying was around. At least he had someone to take care of him when he was injured and lying in bed. Now, other than Chen Zhonghu's 3 meals a day, no one cared about him. On a hot day, no one wiped his body. Lying in bed, he sweated a lot. He felt that his whole body was a little sore and smelled very bad. He couldn't live like this anymore. If he continued like this, he would die. At this moment, when he suddenly smelled the fragrance of the dishes outside, Zhao Wenshui sniffed fiercely. The food that Chen Zhonghu made for him were all vegetarian dishes. He hadn't eaten anything with oil or meat for many days. As soon as he smelled the fragrance outside, Zhao Wenshui couldn't help but swallow his saliva. When he thought about the banquet held by the first branch today, if he went out to eat, he would definitely have meat and wine to drink. Zhao Wenshui was even more greedy. Unfortunately, he was a little inconvenient now. There was a piece of wood on his arm and it hurt a lot when he moved a little. Thus, he shouted towards the outside of the house. "Mother, mother," Zhao Wenshui shouted at the top of his lungs. At this time, xuanhuan, who was also outside, naturally heard him. xuanhuan frowned. After entering Zhao Wenshui's room, she replied unhappily. What are you yelling about on such a joyous occasion? Why do you have to call me over? With a bitter face, Zhao Wenshui said pitifully to xuanhuan, Mother, it's so lively outside. I'm so bored in the room alone. I also want to go out to attend the wedding banquet. Can you help me out? Xuanhuan glared at Zhao Wenshui. Brat, do you still want to be at the table? That's right. Mother, I haven't eaten meat or drunk wine for a long time. It's like there's a roundworm in my stomach. I was fine at first, but when I smelled the fragrance outside today, I couldn't stand it anymore. If I don't eat now, I'll die of discomfort. Mother, since you're all sitting outside and eating, why don't you take me to the table to eat? Xuanhua spat a mouthful of saliva on the ground. Bah! I say, Lao Air, you'd better stop tormenting yourself. You're still eating meat and wine like this. Who would want to sit with you at the table? Okay, you just lie in the room obediently. Today is Tianhu's big day. Don't go out and make a fool of yourself. Otherwise, your elder brother and sister-in-law will feel uncomfortable when they see you. At that time, they'll definitely beat you. Don't suffer or you'll regret it. How could Zhao Wenshui listen to Xuanhua's advice? Chapter 2015. Xuanhua ignored Zhao Wenshui and walked out of the room. Mother, don't go, mother? Zhao Wenshui shouted anxiously, but Xuanhua still ignored him. Zhao Wenshui lay on the bed feeling wronged. He thought that old Zhao's family was really heartless. Everyone else was outside the courtyard, joining in on the fun. Every now and then, bursts of laughter could be heard. Zhao Wenshui felt even worse when he heard the laughter. He cursed these people in his heart. He was lying pitifully in the room, but those people were having fun outside. At this moment, the fragrance from the kitchen became stronger. Zhao Wenshui couldn't stay in bed anymore. He had to go out and eat. Otherwise he would be greedy. He didn't believe that Zhao Wenshui and Feng Xianxia would argue with him and not let him eat at the table on this happy day. Zhao Wenshui struggled to get up from the bed. His arm accidentally bumped into something, causing him to grimace in pain. Zhao Wenshui took a deep breath and walked out of the room. There were many people in old Zhao's courtyard. When they saw Zhao Wenshui's miserable appearance, they all pointed at Zhao Wenshui and talked about him. What happened to Zhao Wenshui? How did he end up like this? Yeah, could it be that he offended someone and got beaten up? Who knows? But why did he come out with such injuries? Did he come out to drink? Zhao Wenshui didn't care about these people's discussion. He shamelessly found a table with a few men and sat down. He could only drink at a man's table. Moreover, he was a man. How could he squeeze with a few women? As soon as Zhao Wenshui sat down, the men smelled his rancid smell. The men on the same bed frowned in disgust. How were they going to eat later if they were to be smoked like this? The smell was so disgusting that they couldn't eat. Zhao Wenshui, you're injured. It's not convenient for you to eat. Why did you come to the table? A man said tactfully. If he said it too directly, he was afraid that it would hurt Zhao Wenshui and make him feel awkward. Zhao Wenshui didn't understand the man's meaning. He waved his hand and said indifferently, so what? His body is injured, not his mouth. It's fine to eat something and drink some wine. The man frowned. It seemed that Zhao Wenshui had no intention of leaving. She couldn't help but continue, but if you keep on messing around like this, what if we accidentally touch you and you get hurt? In my opinion, it's better not to eat it at the table lest you hurt yourself. Zhao Wenshui continued to mumble indifferently, it's fine, it's fine. What could happen? You guys should be careful and stay away from me. Isn't that enough? Let me have a seat by myself. The men on the table were speechless when they saw Zhao Wenshui. They couldn't understand why Zhao Wenshui didn't have any self-awareness. He smelled so bad and still had to come over to annoy them. Zhao Wenshui, the smell on your body is so strong that it's suffocating us, one of the more outspoken people replied. Why don't you move your seat? I can't drink at the same table as you. Chapter 2016. Zhao Wenshui was stunned for a moment. He narrowed his eyes and finally understood. It turned out that these people despised him and didn't want to sit at the same table as him. He was so pissed off, Zhao Wenshui sniffed his body. It was indeed very smelly. He was a little embarrassed, but he was still unwilling to listen to these people and leave the table. Zhao Wenshui replied weakly, seriously, why are you guys being so pretentious? Isn't it just a little strong? When the dishes are served later, the fragrance will naturally cover the stench on my body. Upon hearing Zhao Wenshui's words, the corners of the men's mouths twitched. They sighed at how thick-skinned Zhao Wenshui was. They had already said so, but he still had the nerve to not leave and even said such words. This was the first time they had seen such a person and they were completely convinced. Hey, let's not talk about it. If you want to sit, then sit. Anyway, I can't stand this smell. I'll go eat at another table. One of the men stood up. The other men at the table followed suit and left Zhao Wenshui's table. Seeing that everyone left one by one and he was the only one left at the last table, how could he eat? When the people from the first branch saw that he was the only one at the table, how could they serve the dishes? Zhao Wenshui frowned and thought for a moment. In the end, he decided to forget it. It was boring to eat alone at a table, so he would also change tables. Since the others despised him, it seemed that he could only sit at the same table as his family. Zhao Wenshui stood up and looked around. Finally, he saw Zhao Wentao, Zhao Wenhua, and Zhao Baoshan sitting at the same table. Bearing the risk of being scolded, Zhao Wenshui slowly moved his feet. Then he sat down shamelessly. Old Zhao's family was stunned when they saw Zhao Wenshui. Zhao Baoshan frowned and asked, "Second brother, what are you doing here? Hurry up and get in the house." Zhao Wenshui smiled embarrassedly. "Father, isn't today Tianhu's wedding day? As the second uncle, I definitely have to come out and join in the fun. I'm just happy for him." Zhao Baoshan now knew Zhao Wenshui very well. He snorted coldly and rolled his eyes at Zhao Wenshui. Okay, don't make so many excuses. Who doesn't know what you're doing out here? Zhao Wenshui's smile became even more wicked. "Dad, I haven't drunk for a while. It's so lively today. You're all drinking, leaving me alone in the room. I definitely can't help but want to come out and have a few drinks with you." As soon as Zhao Wenshui finished speaking, xuanhuan started scolding him. "Second brother, you really don't know what you're doing. The doctor said that you can't drink or eat spicy things. Otherwise, the medicine you take won't be so effective." Xuanhuan originally thought that it would be fine if she ignored Zhao Wenshui. Who knew that Zhao Wenshui would be so thick-skinned as to sneak out and sit at the banquet table? Zhao Wenshui didn't get angry at Xuanhua's scolding. Instead, he smiled fawningly and said, "Mom, it's okay. I don't usually eat spicy things. I just ate a little today. What's the big deal? You're just too nervous and making a fuss over nothing." Chapter 2017. After being scolded in public, Zhao Wenshui naturally felt uncomfortable. "Mother, why are you talking about me like that? Isn't it just eating at the table? Why do you have to scold me? There are so many people in the courtyard. Even if you don't find it embarrassing, I find it embarrassing." Xuanhua was so angry that she rolled her eyes at Zhao Wenshui. This brat actually had the nerve to say that. Fine. I don't care about you. Then you can eat as much as you want. You brat, you deserve to die from eating." "Mother?" Zhao Wenshui pursed his lips and looked aggrieved. Xuanhua ignored Zhao Wenshui. She thought that if something really happened to Zhao Wenshui because of this banquet, she would definitely not intervene in Zhao Wenshui's life. Last time, because of their mother-son relationship, she found a doctor for Zhao Wenshui. This time, she really didn't want to find another doctor. This son of hers didn't deserve any sympathy at all. He actually liked to cause trouble on a daily basis. Zhao Wenshui continued to sit down shamelessly. Zhao Baoshan, on the other hand, had a straight face and was somewhat unhappy. "Wenshui, your mother is right. You have to listen to her words. Don't act like it doesn't matter. You've already become like this and you only care about food. If something happens to you, no one in the family can help you. So this time, just bear with it and don't eat at the table. It's fine as long as Tianhu understands your intentions." Zhao Baoshan opened his mouth again and spoke in a manner that seemed to be driving him away. "Father?" Zhao Wenshui's heart was very sullen. Wasn't it just a banquet? The whole family was here, but they had to drive him away to make him happy. Really? They made it seem like he was an outsider and didn't care about him at all. "Hurry up and go back to your room. Don't dawdle anymore." Zhao Baoshan impatiently urged him again. At this moment, a dish was prepared in the kitchen and was brought to the table. When Zhao Wenshui saw the dishes on the plate, he was reluctant to leave. Now he couldn't move. Zhao Wenshui swallowed his saliva and couldn't wait to pick up his chopsticks and have a taste. However, before he could do that, he heard Zhao Baoshan scolding him again. "Hurry up and leave. We're going to eat." "Father, I also want to sit down and eat. It's already pitiful enough for me to lie in my room alone for so many days. Now that it's Tianhu's big day, I can't even come out to join in the fun. Do you want me to suffocate to death in my room?" Zhao Wenhua glanced at Zhao Wenshui and felt that her second brother was indeed a little pitiful. The whole family sat at the same table to eat, but Zhao Wenshui was not allowed to sit at the table. Zhao Wenshui was definitely uncomfortable. Zhao Wenhua said, "Father, why don't we let second brother sit down and eat? It's not a big deal to eat less spicy food and drink less alcohol. The main thing is that the whole family can sit together and join in the fun. After all, it's a joyous day. Old Zhao's family should all be happy." After hearing Zhao Wenhua's words, Zhao Wenshui cast a grateful look at him and hurriedly nodded in agreement. "Yes, yes, 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 father. That's what fourth brother said." Zhao Baoshan glared at Zhao Wenshui and said unhappily, "Do whatever you want. I don't care anyway. I won't help you when your big brother comes over to chase us away." "Father, he won't. Big brother usually bickers with me. He definitely won't do that today." However, Zhao Wenshui was slapped in the face the next second. Chapter 2018. Big Brother. Zhao Wenshui looked into Zhao Wenshu's gloomy eyes and felt a little scared. He had been punched by Zhao Wenshu before, so he knew how powerful Zhao Wenshu was. As soon as Zhao Wenshui saw Zhao Wenshu, he could not help but feel a little scared. "Hurry up and leave. Do you want me to chase you away with a stick before you leave?" Zhao Wenshu continued to scold him. Zhao Wenshui smiled fawningly and said, "Big brother, I know you're not happy to see me, but don't be angry with me. Today is Xianhu's big day. Don't be so calculative with me." "What does my Xianhu's big day have to do with you?" Zhao Wenshu retorted angrily. Zhao Wenshui said embarrassedly, "Of course it has something to do with me, big brother. I'm Xianhu's second uncle. How can it have nothing to do with me?" Zhao Wenshu snorted and said, "What kind of second uncle are you? Hurry up and get lost." Zhao Wenshu said mercilessly. Of course, in his heart he did not acknowledge Zhao Wenshui as his brother. Ever since Zhao Wenshui laid his hands on his wife, he treated Zhao Wenshui as if he did not exist. In the past, even if Zhao Wenshui did something worse than a beast, he would still take into account their brotherhood. However, Zhao Wenshui's perverted hands reached out to his wife. As long as he was a man, he would not tolerate such a thing happening. Zhao Wenshui was slightly stunned. Why was Zhao Wenshu's reaction different from what he had imagined? "Big brother, let's talk nicely. It's just a banquet." Before Zhao Wenshui could finish speaking, Zhao Wenshu had already picked up the stick on the ground and swung it at Zhao Wenshui. Zhao Wenshui hurriedly dodged. When he saw that he had dodged, he heaved a heavy sigh of relief in his heart. If he was hit, it would be terrible. He was already injured, so he would definitely be crippled. After recovering from his shock, Zhao Wenshu chased after him with a stick. "Are you going to leave or not?" Zhao Wenshui was so scared that he hurriedly said, "Big brother, stop hitting me. I'll get out of here." With that, Zhao Wenshui limped back to his room. Seeing Zhao Wenshui's back disappear, Zhao Wenshu's anger dissipated. This shameless guy actually had the nerve to come out. If it weren't for the fact that they were holding a wedding today and he didn't have a chance to make a scene in front of so many people, he wouldn't be able to rest if he didn't give Zhao Wenshui a good beating. After Zhao Wenshui left, the banquet table continued to be lively. Zhao Yuner was in charge of cooking in the kitchen, and the dishes were served one by one. Due to the delicious food and wine, everyone in the courtyard began to eat in a lively manner. As the groom, Zhao Qianhu inevitably had to be toasted by table after table. The villagers were usually very idle, so when it came to such a joyous occasion, they naturally wanted to liven things up. Everyone held a jar of Zhao Qianhu's wine. Zhao Qianhu was an honest person. After others toasted him, he was too embarrassed to refuse, so he directly gulped down cup after cup of wine. Fortunately, he usually had a good tolerance for alcohol. If it were an ordinary person, they would have been drunk and passed out on the ground. Feng Xianxia was busy in the kitchen while looking at Zhao Qianhu worriedly. When she saw that Zhao Qianhu drank so much wine, she was very worried. She hurriedly walked out and pulled Zhao Wenshu aside. "Qianhu's father, you have to stop others from toasting. Qianhu drank so much that it will hurt his body." "Hey Qianhu's mother, today is just for fun. You can't refuse a toast, right?" Chapter 2019. Feng Xianxia was still worried about her son, so she reminded him repeatedly. Zhao Wenshu could only reply, Okay. I got it. But she wants Qianhu to drink. I'm just afraid that as his father, she won't be happy if I help her drink." Feng Xianxia's face was colored with a hint of worry. Drinking too much wine would cause problems. They still had to consummate their marriage at night. If he drank too much and passed out, how could they continue? This isn't a good idea. Then think of a way? While the two of them were frowning and meditating, Zhao Yuner came over and said, "What's so difficult about this? Can't we just change the wine in second cousin's wine pot to water?" At most, he'll just drink a few more cups of water. Zhao Wenshi and Feng Xianxia were slightly stunned. After hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, they suddenly felt that they were too naive. Sometimes one had to be sly and not be too honest. But what if the wine in the wine pot doesn't smell like wine? Won't we be discovered? Zhao Wenshi was a little worried. People like them who drank wine often knew that when pouring wine, they would smell the fragrance of wine. If it was plain water, they might be suspicious if they couldn't smell it. Zhao Yun'er smiled. That's easy. Add some water to the wine. This way it won't smell like wine and it won't be easy to get drunk. After hearing Zhao Yun'er's words, Zhao Wenshi and Feng Xianxia were enlightened. This method was indeed good and feasible. Hence, when Zhao Qianhu was about to finish the wine pot in his hand, he hurriedly took out another wine pot and poured a lot of water into it. Then he brought it in front of Zhao Qianhu and asked Zhao Qianhu to hold the diluted wine pot and toast everyone. This time, because the alcohol content in the wine was reduced by a lot, Zhao Qianhu didn't get too drunk even though he drank a lot. After 3 rounds of wine, almost everyone in the courtyard had eaten and drunk well. Zhao Yun'er was busy with the banquet, and it was rare for her to take time to have lunch. But because of the heat she couldn't eat much. Thinking that the bride was still waiting in the bridal chamber and must have not eaten at this time, Zhao Yun'er thought about sending some food to the bride. Otherwise she would be hungry after waiting for such a long time. Unfortunately, the bride's veil could only be removed by the groom during the bridal chamber, and no one else could do it. With a red veil covering the bride's head, it was impossible to eat. Zhao Yun'er silently planned to hide more snacks in her sleeves when she got married in the future. That way she could use these snacks to fill her stomach when she was hungry. After the people in the courtyard finished eating, they dispersed. However, as the man, in addition to lunch, he also had to entertain his family at night. Old Zhao's family members had to be well entertained. After dinner, the banquet would be over, and then they would enter the bridal chamber. The banquet in the evening was easy to prepare. There were so many leftover dishes in the afternoon, so they just had to be reheated in the evening. Eating together as a family was not so particular, unlike eating with outsiders. At that time, Zhao Yun'er's family would also come to join in the fun. Of course, this was for Zhao Qianhu's sake. If it was someone else's wedding, she would probably be too lazy to join in the fun. Old Zhao's family was still sitting in the courtyard, watching another grandson get married. Zhao Baoshan was also very happy. At noon he drank a lot of wine and was drunk. Chapter 2020. Zhao Tianan was very shy to begin with. When Zhao Wentao mentioned this matter, he became even more shy. He muttered softly, "Fourth uncle, don't tease me." Zhao Wentao laughed heartily. "Fourth uncle isn't teasing you. Among the descendants of old Zhao, according to age, the next one to get married will definitely be you. It can't be that Tianfu and Chanyu will get married before you, right?" As soon as Zhao Wentao finished speaking, Daodu, who was sitting on a stool and leaning against Zhao Tianan, replied in a childish voice, "Fourth grandpa, the next one to get married won't be first uncle. It's Daodu. Daodu is going to marry little sister Tiantan." After Daodu finished speaking, everyone at the dining table was amused by Daodu's childish words. "Haha, yes. Daodu is right. The next one to get married will definitely be Daodu." "Daodu is already thinking about getting married at such a young age? Don't you know how to be shy?" Qian Zhonghu teased. Daodu shook her head heavily. "I'm not ashamed. Fourth grandmother, what's there to be ashamed of? Daodu likes little sister Tian Tian and wants to marry little sister Tian Tian." Ha! Sure enough, the words of a child were so funny. However, he was still young and did not understand the true meaning of marriage. The topic of conversation fell on Zhao Tianan. They seemed to be very concerned about Zhao Tianan's marriage. Zhao Wenhua said, "Tianan's marriage is coming soon. In a few days, the family will be preparing for the wedding." "Ah, that's good. It's indeed a happy thing to be able to see Tianan get married. Third elder brother, congratulations. Soon, only Tianfu will be left in the family. The whole family is about to get married." Zhao Wenhua chuckled and replied, "Yes, our old Zhao family has been having a lot of good things recently. Tianan is also enjoying the good fortune of our old Zhao family to get such a good marriage. Haha, no matter whose blessing it is, Tianan being able to get married is a joyous occasion." The people at the table were talking and laughing because of Zhao Tianan's marriage. Zhao Tianan's cheeks became redder. Seeing that everyone had left, the people at old Zhao's table slowly stood up. A few sisters-in-law were busy cleaning up the table. Zhao Yun'er went back home to rest for a while and take an afternoon nap. With Mu Lianfeng taking care of the child, she didn't have to worry about it. Tian Tian was a very well-behaved child. She ate and drank to her heart's content every day and never made a fuss unless she had to defecate. This saved Zhao Yuner and Mu Lianfeng a lot of trouble. As for old Zhao's side, after the table was cleaned up, the borrowed tables could be returned one by one with the help of a few uncles. Zhao Tianan, who was not completely drunk, thought about his lovely wife, who was left alone in the bridal chamber. Zhao Qianhu walked to the door of the bridal chamber nervously. He glanced into the room and hesitated whether to go in or not. He was looking forward to seeing Jianghu, but his heart was pounding nervously. He thought that Jianghu must be bored alone in the room. Most importantly, she hadn't eaten lunch. Zhao Qianhu entered the room and stood in front of Jianghu. He said gently to her, Are you hungry? Do you want to eat something? Jianghu nodded and then shook her head. She nodded because she was indeed hungry. She shook her head because it was inconvenient to eat with the red veil on her head. What's wrong? Are you hungry or not? Zhao Qianhu asked doubtfully. Chapter 2021. Zhao Qianhu replied foolishly, Then I'll just take it off? Taking off the veil on Jianghu's head would allow him to see Jianghu's dainty appearance today. He couldn't wait to take a look and let Jianghu see her current handsome appearance. You can't. Jianghu replied shyly. Why is that? The two of us are getting married. If we take off the veil now, it will be inauspicious. Wait for the night. You can only take it off during the wedding night? Under the veil, Jianghu's face was extremely red. Thinking of the wedding night, Jianghu's heart was nervous. Zhao Qianhu was about the same. When he heard the words wedding night from old man Jin's mouth, his ears turned red, but he was somewhat looking forward to it. He wanted to do that with she was his wife, so the two of them could do the wedding night. Then we'll wait until the wedding night to reveal it. Zhao Qianhu stuttered a little. Because he was nervous, he clutched the corner of his clothes, secretly looking forward to the arrival of the night. Jianghu also responded. Thinking that it would take some time to wait for the night, Jianghu was already hungry. If she waited until the night, wouldn't she be so hungry that her chest was sticking to her back? Zhao Qianhu continued to ask with concern, what if you're hungry? Do you want me to get something else for you to eat? No. There's no need, right? Jianghu was a little embarrassed to ask. Being hungry is not an option. You still have to eat something. I'll go get you some food. With that, Zhao Qianhu turned and left the house. Since she couldn't eat food but other things could be eaten. For example, those pastries and candies, eating them could at least fill her stomach. Zhao Qianhu walked out of the house and went to look for Feng Xianxia. Mother. Zhao Qianhu called out. Mother, do we still have those pastries in our house? Take some out for me, I'll give them to Ju. She hasn't eaten yet. I'm a little hungry. Feng Xianxia patted her head, only then did she remember Jianghu. She hurriedly nodded and said, All right, mother will go get some now. Yes. When Feng Xianxia entered the house, she left all the delicious food with Xinpan, so that Xinpan could bring it to Zhao Yangyang. Right now, the Xin couple was in the room chatting with Xinpan. Feng Xianxia couldn't help but feel a little awkward when she went in. She forced a smile and said, You guys talk. Don't worry about me. I'm just going to take some food out. However, as soon as Feng Xianxia opened the bag, Zhao Yangyang stopped Feng Xianxia unhappily. Grandma, you said these things are for me to eat. Where do you want to take them now? Who is it for? Feng Xianxia coaxed. Yangyang, your second aunt is hungry. Grandma will get her something to eat now. Otherwise she will starve. However, Zhao Yangyang stubbornly replied, No. Grandma, you said before that these things were for Yangyang alone. Why are you giving them to others now? Feng Xianxia was stunned. Yangyang, but your second aunt doesn't have anything else to eat. Can you let Grandma take some now? Grandma will buy them tomorrow and return them to you, okay? Zhao Yangyang protected the pastries with one hand and stubbornly said, No, Grandma can't go back on her words. If you give Yangyang something, you can't give it to others. Otherwise, Yangyang will get angry and ignore Grandma in the future. Chapter 2022. If Zhao Yangyang was protecting Jianghu, then what could he make for her? Grandma, go away, go away. Zhao Yangyang pushed Feng Xianxia, wanting to chase her out. Feng Xianxia furrowed her brows, feeling a little uncomfortable. Her gaze landed on Xinpan. As the saying goes, a father's fault is a father's fault. Now that Zhao Tianlong wasn't home, he couldn't educate Zhao Yangyang. Xinpan must have not taught him well for him to treat her like this. Pan, talk to Yangyang. She listens to you more. I'll make some food for your second sister-in-law. Otherwise she'll definitely be starving tonight. After Xinpan heard this, she felt a little uncomfortable. Before Jianghu married into the family, Feng Xianxia only favored her. Now that her second sister-in-law was here, with Feng Xianxia's personality, she would definitely give Jianghu half of the love and care she gave her. Although she felt uncomfortable, Xinpan didn't show it on her face. Instead, she greeted Zhao Yangyang. Yangyang, give it to your grandma. Grandma and Grandpa brought a lot of good food for you today. You definitely won't be able to finish it. Be good and listen to your mother, okay? Madame Yang and Xuanhuan nodded and coaxed Zhao Yangyang. Yes, Yangyang. Grandpa and Grandma brought a lot of good food for you. It'll be enough for you to eat for a while. When you're done eating, have your mother bring you to Grandpa and Grandma to prepare some more for you. After hearing Madame Yang and Xuanhuan's words, Zhao Yangyang made a sound of agreement. Yes, yes. Then Yangyang will eat the food Grandpa and Grandma brought. Grandpa and Grandma are the best. Zhao Yangyang smiled and ran over to Madame Yang and Xuanhuan. Feng Xianxia felt a little stuffy in her chest. She glanced at Zhao Yangyang and scolded him in her heart. This little brat didn't even know who he should be close to. Madame Yang and Xuanhuan were just outsiders. Since he was her grandson, he should be closer to her. She was so good to him, but she couldn't bear to eat anything and stuffed everything into Zhao Yangyang's mouth. Now Zhao Yangyang was great. Madame Yang and Xuanhuan casually took out something to coax him, but Zhao Yangyang immediately betrayed them and said that Madame Yang and Xuanhuan were good. It seemed like the amount of food she gave to this grandson was not as good as the amount of food she gave to the Xin family. This kind of child would probably not know how to be grateful and filial when he grew up. Of course, Feng Xianxia was just thinking about it. Although she was disappointed, he was still her grandson. What could she do? Xinpan pursed her lips and said to Feng Xianxia, Mother, it's done now. Go and give some to second sister-in-law. Feng Xianxia came back to her senses and responded. Then she took out some pastries from the bag. She didn't take much, but it was enough to fill her stomach. After coming out, Feng Xianxia gave the cake to Zhao Tianhu. Zhao Tianhu turned around and went into the house to give it to Jianghu. At this moment in Xinpan's room, the Xin couple sighed. Xinpan asked, Father, Mother, why are the two of you sighing? Madame Yang's heart ached as she said, Father and Mother are very sad to see you and Yangyang living like this. You even treasure food so much. If you married into a rich family, you wouldn't have to live like this. Xinpan cried and laughed. Father, Mother, it's not as bad as you make it out to be. Although we're not rich, at least Yangyang and I have never gone hungry. You're tuning in to the Sword Dance in the Vast Sky YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.